Well, everybody, and good afternoon on this beautiful Veterans Day here in Los Angeles, California. My name is David Trigg, here your host for this awesome day. Welcome. Talking today about tech news and the things that might interest you in the area of technology, of podcasting, of live streaming, and especially talking about this question that I have today, or this statement of why you shouldn't start a podcast right now, or a blog, or if you already have one, why you need to move your content to another place that I want to talk to you about. Maybe you're someone who has a YouTube channel and you've been posting videos for a long time. You want to be like Casey Neistat. You want to be like a lot of people these days that are doing a lot of work and making a lot of money online. So I have some things I want to share with you. If you are here on Periscope or on YouTube Live or on Facebook Live, welcome. My name is David Trigg, as I said, and I want to give you just some of the latest tech news so that you can learn a little bit about the things that I've done, my mistakes, also the things that I'm learning here on this beautiful day. So let me know where you're coming from. If you're on Periscope, or if you're on Facebook Live, on Twitter, of course, or you're on YouTube. We're streaming live to all of the different platforms today. By the way, I'm using a platform or a software. I don't think I have the ad here. I don't think it's showing. But there is an awesome software that I use called Restream that I have used for the last couple of weeks that allows me to stream live to different platforms all at once. So I can't wait to tell you all about that. But basically, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I've been kind of noticing as far as tech news and as far as kind of where the market is going in some ways. So if you have a blog, or if you are wanting to go from a blog into podcasting to get your message out from about your company or about your church, or maybe you have a nonprofit, what I recommend is that you move quickly to live streaming. And that even if you don't feel like you are amazing online, or that you have a face, like they say, more for radio, that you learn the basic skills to move to live video content, even more than recorded video content, meaning the traditional YouTube videos or Facebook videos that people watch. Because what's happening is that the trend is moving towards, in many ways, watching TV on mobile. So if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, he's one of my heroes, and just I think for many people that like technology, he's a man who knows a ton about trends, and I think that he speaks really intelligently, although a bit foul-mouthed, I must say, about the issues of technology. And one of the things that I agree with him on is that this phone has now become our new TV. That even though you and I might still watch some TV, meaning on a traditional television on your wall, that whether you are on Netflix, whether you are watching a YouTube video, whatever you are consuming, you are going to prefer to watch it on mobile, on your phone, on a laptop perhaps. And that this idea of mostly watching TV in a regular way is pretty much come and gone. Now, why do I say that podcasting, for example, is pretty much dead, or is pretty much over? Is it really? Isn't radio still growing? Isn't traditional television, still there, right? Well, here's what I've noticed, man. I'd love to hear your comments on this, is that the problem with podcasting is that it's not live. Is that you can't interact with the content. And more people are wanting that sense of community, wanting to meet people, wanting to interact with the host, or with the news, or with even, imagine one day interacting with the movie itself that you're watching on Netflix. Let's say you're a big House of Cards fan, or my favorite, Madam Secretary. Imagine if you were able to actually comment on the movie as you're watching it, and have other people's comments being played while you're watching a movie. How crazy would that be? But yet that is where all media seems to be headed, because I think that if you think about VR or AR, augmented reality, and Pokemon Go or virtual reality, the reason why all those things have been so popular is because they create community. And as most of us realize that individual community, or meaning that's a oxymoron, individual consumption is not enough. As most of us move away from being alone with our phones towards community with our phones, community with the content, then more and more platforms, or more and more hosts, or more and more people that are broadcasting are going to have to also have a platform where they can interact with the audience. So for example, you're here watching me on Facebook Live or on Periscope, and my phone just died, as I noticed. So I don't know really if you have any comments, or if maybe you're on Facebook. If you have any comments, I can't quite see. Maybe I can, I don't know if my music will shut down if I switch to Facebook here. But my point is that all of us, wherever we are consuming our content, we want to interact with people. We want to know that we're being heard. So the problem with podcasting is that it's recorded. I love podcasting. I did podcasting for about the last 5 years. Had great traction. Thousands and thousands of listeners loved it. But if you are someone who wants to get your brand out, who wants to let people know about your nonprofit or your church, you really need to look into live streaming. Now, here's the second thing. Live streaming used to mostly be something you did with your phone. And it still continues to be. I would say 90% of people that risk to even be live, they do one of two things. Either they broadcast a kid's soccer game, or maybe a show they're watching, or maybe they're at an event. So they act, in other words, as almost like a news channel, where they're not really the host. They're not really interacting with the audience. And they're using mobile. So I think that's fine, because as Gary Vee was saying earlier today, I was watching this stream that he did, really the way of the future, and I agree with him on this, is not so much to create content, but really to, in many ways, as he calls it, to document life. So in other words, to be someone who is actually showing people what they're learning. So for example, I'm here in my studio to show you what I'm learning as I broadcast and the tools that I'm using. If maybe you're a church planter, maybe you're someone who is a nonprofit volunteer or director, to document for people the ups and downs of leading a nonprofit. So he calls it document, not create. Now, I think there's room for both. Obviously, on YouTube, you have content creators. Again, Casey Neistat, or my daughter, for example, is a YouTuber in the area of makeup and beauty and makeup. So those are content creators. I myself, I have a devotional that I do every day where I'm creating content. But I think the idea of documenting your journey is very important, because then you don't really have to feel the pressure to be the game show host, to be the creator of content, to have something intelligent or funny or entertaining to say. You can document the journey. Now, you're still going to have to be good. I think, as Gary Vee says, you're still going to have a lot of people just fall off the platforms because we just won't watch them. So, for example, including my channel, if you are watching and you're thinking, I don't really like what this guy's saying, it's boring, I don't care that he has lights or lower thirds or whatever, if the content is boring to you, you're just not going to watch. And so you're going to have that no matter what. But the idea of documenting your process, your journey, is going to be important. For example, in my life, we have 3 teenagers. Imagine if one of our daughters, we have 2 daughters and a son, was to document their process of going from high school to college. You would have a ton of people interested. Not so much in that they have tips or knowledge, or that they are a guru, or that they are teaching you how to, apply for college. or how to get into the best universities, but just the fact that they're documenting that journey, the ups and downs of it, not getting into the school that you wanted. Kind of reality TV mixed with live streaming, mixed with engagement, mixed with community is where all this is headed. So I would love to know what you think and what are you doing to create community? What are your thoughts on this? Do you have a podcast? Do you have a blog? And are you feeling encouraged by it? I think blogging, for those that are writers, is still a good way to communicate because there is some engagement that can happen through comments. A lot of people aren't comfortable in front of a camera or on radio or meaning in front of a microphone, but they are great writers. And I mean, you have still so many people writing a ton of books. So I think that beyond live streaming or this medium of video, I think that writing is still a very powerful tool because people love to read, especially introverts or people that are more contemplative. They love to read. They're not into giving their comments or being on some sort of online battle with the content creators, right? And so that might be, and I think it still actually is, a very powerful tool. But now I think that where you do have to maybe grow is and make sure that you do have engagement, that you are creating enough content and that you are creating good topics of conversation where people are engaging with you. This, and I've struggled with this idea of it's just a one-way stream is really not working. If you're just creating content and nobody is not just watching, I don't think it's even about how many views you have anymore, but really engaging with you, then you're really wasting your time. It is about engagement. And I was late to that party, I must admit. I thought, well, I'm creating a lot of content. I think it's good. People are watching. I have 90, 500, sometimes, like I said, 5,000 views. I have so many thousand likes on this or that, but it doesn't really matter how many likes you have because again, people are gonna press like it's nothing. It's no big deal to like something. The point is, are they spending time watching your actual content? Are they sitting down or listening to your thing for 30 minutes, not just for 30 seconds or even half a second, which is really more, I think, accurate. And then even beyond that, are they actually engaging with you, saying, hey, what's up? I like what you're doing, or I have a question, or I don't agree, or I disagree. Those are the shows and the content providers that are going to rise. I think another thing that is a big change is the idea of making money through your channel. You know, like it seems like certainly when I first got into podcasting or got into all of these different mediums, it seems like it was all about how do I monetize my channel, right? And then there were those 2 or 3 mediums that did do it. Obviously, business gurus are everywhere. Most of them, I think, are frauds and don't really have a lot of real life knowledge or actual results. You know, they're just basically selling you. Let me go back to my camera here. They're mostly, see if this works here. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. There it is. So sometimes my programming machine here gets a little tricked up or gets a little worked up, I guess. Let's see here. Yeah. Anyway, so my point is that you have business gurus, then you also have beauty, makeup, and even that has a lifespan, right? I mean, once you're 28, 35, 45, I doubt 10-year-olds are going to be watching your makeup tips. So even that has a lifespan. What else seems to be really popular? Well, it's the life, what do you call those? Lifestyle channels, meaning Casey Neistat being the prime example. Basically, people that are doing amazing, exciting, and extraordinary things that have a lifestyle that nobody can relate to, but everybody wants. So you're talking about 2 or 3 themes out of the thousands of interests that are out there. So I don't see a lot of cooking channels that are really taking off, or a lot of, I think health and fitness probably, maybe, sort of is out there, but really you have more. I think you have less and less areas that are really surfacing to the top, right? And then now, if I'm wrong, please let me know. If you have if you have a different take, if you think that there are other areas that you think are really successful, then please let me know in the comments below. Now, so because of that, I think the idea of, as I said, of documenting life is really important, of documenting kind of where you are going and where you're headed, I think is very important, versus just the idea of just, hey, here's me as the guru, and so I'm going to teach you everything. Because I think, honestly, a lot of people, when it comes to creating content, they feel like they don't have a lot to say. It's tough to kind of come up with something new every time. It gets pretty hard to come up with new things to say every week, even, much less like some people feel the pressure to do that every day, or twice, two, 3 times a week. So what do we do when it comes to those tensions? Well, I think the idea of documenting your process is important, your progress. I think the idea of having some reality TV aspects to your life is going to be important. I think really in many ways it's going to have to come down to, do you have good things to say that people are interested in? I have here my other camera, so hopefully you can see me back there. So a little bit of a behind the scenes here at home and in my home studio. But the point being that you're going to have to always create good content that people actually want to watch, because people get bored. And I think also another thing that I would say is the idea of, well, something has to be 5 minutes or 3 minutes, or it can only be so long. I think that's really irrelevant. People are going to watch something for an hour if it's amazing. People are going to listen to you for 45 minutes if it's good. But on the other hand, even if something is only 2 minutes long, but it's crappy content, it doesn't really relate and it doesn't engage with people, no one's going to watch it. So one of the things that you can do if you are wanting to grow in this area or get into podcasting, even though I don't recommend it, or into live streaming, is to watch a ton of people, is to go to the channels on Periscope that have the thousands of viewers, and really not so much the views, but the engagement. And as everyone says, begin to build a tribe, begin to connect with those 2, 3, 4 people that are really into your stuff, into you personally, into your brand, and really try to speak to them. One of the things that I think is really awesome that people do a lot is to just give shout outs. And while someone is live, they'll say, hey, thank you for being here at 322 LA, or whatever it may be. When I think that happens, people do have a sense of community. I mean, I love it, even though I may be one of a million people on a TV show or on someone's channel or someone's stream. I love it when someone mentions my name. And I create content all the time. You would think that it doesn't matter, but everyone likes to be acknowledged, especially by someone that's online. Because again, remember, most people aren't creating. Most people are consuming. The stats are that 8 to 10% of people, I think it's even less than that, are actually putting stuff out there. And so when anyone, quote, on TV or on social media mentions your name or your handle or your channel, it feels amazing. I think even more than a like, more than a comment, it's all about having someone verbally acknowledge you on TV, quote unquote, because that is the ultimate dream, unless you could be on a stage speaking in front of thousands of people, because most of us don't get to do that. The closest we will get to being famous per se, or feeling acknowledged, is if someone mentions our name on live television. How awesome is that? And the only way that you can do it, as I said, is if you are live streaming, and if you are watching the comments come in, and you are actually engaging with that audience, no matter how small it is. So I wonder if you have any questions. If you are here in the live chat here on Periscope or on YouTube, if you have any sort of discussion questions, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know what other thoughts you have. If you have questions on my set here, I'm using now these just normal Apple earbuds instead of the big headphones to try to clean up a little bit of the look here. And I have my water and my Goso cup. I still am having some problems with my gear, because even though I do have some of these, like for example, I'm going to show you some of the things that I can do here with my gear. This is in Spanish. I do a Spanish show. This is called Noticias, which means news. So then this is called Deportes, which is sports, of course. This one, I do the weather. So all these graphics are a part of this software that I use now. But then there's some problems, like this last one here. It's blank, as you can see. So I'm not sure why that keeps happening. It's happened a lot. Back to my camera 1, and then I have camera 2. So if I ever go to that set, you like that? It's pretty cool, huh? It's a virtual set, by the way. And then I have this third camera. I have 3 cameras basically, and that is my kind of behind the scenes camera. And then back to camera 1, I have my main camera that you're seeing, and then I have these titles underneath in these lower thirds, but somehow, as I mentioned, these buttons don't seem to work all the time. But I also can put videos. Watch this video here. This is one of my favorite videos for my Spanish show called Be de Burro. It's you have to watch it. It's silly. I have these slides that I can show in Spanish or English, and I just make these slides on a Photoshop or whatever, and then I load them into this software called OBS, and then I have different tools that I use for the live streaming part. And let's see, what else can I show you here? So this is my closing slide that you can see there, and it does have a slideshow feature. I think this will automatically update here in a few seconds from this one to that one, as you just saw there. But back to camera 1, right there, you can see that, and you can obviously see or hear the I have a microphone, and a lot of those things are pretty standard now. Everybody knows how to do that. You use a USB mixer, you put some lights, you have some cameras, and you're on the air. As far as how do you live stream software-wise using these tools, that is something that I think it does take time. You have to kind of learn how to do that. Not everyone is into it. I feel sometimes that people that teach this and charge you $50 or I don't know, $100 or even thousands of dollars for a course, I think they're ripping you off. I mean, really, do I want to do it and rip people off? Yeah. Why wouldn't I want money to teach you how to do these things? Because a lot of people will pay. But I personally feel like it's a ripoff because first, it's everywhere. You can find it free by watching YouTube videos. And second, by trial and error. Now, are some people just not technically savvy? Of course. And like, for example, I mean, do I feel bad that I have to pay a mechanic to fix my alternator? Yeah, I do, because I know I should just do it myself. But it's easier to pay someone $1,000 to replace an alternator than for me to do it. So I get that. That's business. That's just how life works. But I guess for me, I struggle teaching people how to do this stuff and charging them, although I guess I could. And I don't know, maybe I will if the price isn't too crazy or if I don't feel like I'm ripping people off. So, but my point is that these tools are out there and they're important and they're not that difficult. They do take time, but they're accessible to everyone. So, well, thanks again, guys, for watching this. I'm going to just kind of go to that slide here. Somehow my music also went off the air. I'm not sure what happened with my tunes, but that's part of live streaming. You know, sometimes things just don't work. So my music somehow stopped working. But as I said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here on this live stream. If you do want more of these videos, please let me know. Leave me a comment below. Leave me a thumbs up, but most of all, engage with this as it's going live so that we can interact and I can really be of assistance to you or learn really what are the things that you want more of. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.